Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tech News this week. Now, one during the pandemic, if you see, there is one constant is that tech keeps growing, tech keeps booming. Not only innovations, the moolah keeps coming. So, Apple in the pre-pandemic era had touched the 1 trillion mark. Then last year, beginning, it had touched, not last year, we are already in 2022. 2020, it had touched the 2 trillion mark. And now, briefly, it had touched the 3 trillion mark. So, in terms of market capitalization, Apple has created the $3 trillion club. I mean, that's absolutely maddening because 3 trillion is, the economy which India has been struggling to get. Of course, GDP and market cap are totally two different things, but still, it gives you an idea. So, if I don't know if anyone remembers, but in 2007, PetroChina created the $1 trillion club in terms of market cap. Interestingly, at that time, Tim Cook became head of operations in Apple the very same year. But that was the era of big oil, and that has ended, and now it's the era of big tech. Apple joined the $1 trillion market cap club in 2018. It was the first tech company to do so. Thereafter, it was the first to the 2 trillion mark too. Interestingly, the 2 trillion club, it's not alone in that. It also has Microsoft and Alphabet. Now, if you look at Amazon, Meta, and Tesla, they are in the 1 trillion club. So these six companies, they are the largest companies in the world, which I had termed A3M3. That is three A's and three M's. That is Apple, Alphabet, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Musk. Because Elon Musk, Tesla is not his only company. You have SpaceX and all which could become big in the future. Now, interestingly, these six companies together have a market cap of more than $10 trillion. Just imagine, these six companies are worth more than $10 trillion. That is the crazy valuations. It's not just the startups and the startups in India. Like everyone knows, we are having the $1 million club is become crowded in terms of unicorn in the startup industry. But that is a case with tech all over the world, whether it's the big giants, whether it's the medium level companies, or it's the startups. So that's what the boom time during the pandemic era is there for tech, for startups, and nothing typifies that more than Apple. So you can imagine that from 1 trillion to 2 trillion, it went in 2 years, just above 2 years. But from two to three, it has gone in less than 1.5 years. Now, if you look at Apple, it's been more than 10 years since the icon Steve Jobs passed away. Who would have thought that Tim Cook would take it to much greater heights? He has outperformed Steve Jobs. Of course, I'm not talking of innovation and genius and all. I'm talking in terms of pure revenue, in terms of pure market capitalization. And Apple, ever since that, last 10 years, it's ups and downs are there. More or less, it's been the most valuable company in the world. In fact, it took that title in 2011 when it had a market cap of 340 billion. Actually, if you see at that time also, Cook can take the credit. In 2011, when Apple became the most valuable company, because if you look at Cook's career, he became Apple head of operations in 2007 and chief executive in 2009. So when in 2011 Apple got the mantle, he had been at the helm for 4 years because everyone knows Steve Jobs was ailing. He was just about surviving. But it's been a huge 10 years under Cook after that, and so it shows no signs of stopping. Now, American companies, big tech is doing great, but in India, American companies always had problems due to some reason or other. Now, I don't know if you remember, the most high profile was the Janata Party coming to power in 1977 and kicking out both IBM and Coca-Cola. So, of course, things are not that bad, but things it still continues. The Competition Commission of India, or the CCI, has ordered an inquiry into Apple India over the access and fees of its App Store. This has been a big news in the last couple of years. Google and Apple charging a premium for their app stores, and the new developers and the new app players are pretty miffed about it. People have gone to court, but there have been some partial successes. The same thing is in Amazon. Amazon has been on the receiving end. It had a deal with Future Coupons, and it was looking to take over the Future Group. Maybe one day that option was there, but Reliance took it over. So that battle has been raging, but as of now, Amazon seems to have lost the battle, and it seems that Reliance will take over the future. And to complicate matters, Reliance has also taken a stake in Dunzo. Around their investment is around $200 million. So there will be another battle in the instant e-commerce delivery market, which is getting very crowded and it's very furious. Now, again, Tesla also has taken ages to come to India. Let's see how it is faring. Another problem is Musk company Starlink. Starlink, of course, promises to give satellite broadband to the world. And that would have been a boon to India because India still has many remote areas, mountainous areas, desert areas, villages, rural areas, which don't have broadband. So it would have catered to everyone. However, there has been a licensing problem. And now the Indian government has ordered Starlink to refund the pre-orders and Indian citizens not to subscribe till the license issue is sorted out. Interestingly, the Starlink India country head has also stopped down, citing personal reasons, though he has quit after 3 months. That is a too short a stint for any big tech country manager. OneWeb already has a tie-up with Airtel to give satellite broadband in India. So let's see how that market fares out. Then an era has come to an end. The BlackBerry era has come to an end. Of course, it came many years back, but still, it is finally dead. It is shutting down its BlackBerry OS. Your old BlackBerry phones will no longer work. They will not get any kind of support. It is amazing how many mobile companies which have had the first mover advantage have simply bitten the dust. Now, if you remember, the first player was Nokia. Nokia was to rule the world, but it's just about surviving. It's not dead yet. Then you have Motorola, Sony Ericsson, LG. None of them could deliver the goods. And of course, BlackBerry has also gone. If you remember, that then President-elect Barack Obama swore by it in 2008, but that era has ended. To think BlackBerry was launched way back it was launched way back in 1999. Now, if you look, there are just a limited players. There's Korea's Samsung. I mean, LG has shut down. There's America's Apple, and you have all the Chinese mobile players. You have so many, but at the global level, there are too many that are doing well. Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, etc. Now, in other news, since it takes the user more clicks to reject Facebook and Google cookies rather than accept them, the France government has fined these big tech companies around 200 million euros. So just think, I mean, Europe had introduced GDPR. They have among the strictest, and these fines, which are whatever 20 million, 100 million, 400 million. It's now, I think it's not only billions, it's in tens of billions of dollars. Now, interestingly, a lawsuit in the US claims that Google paid Apple to stay out of the search business. So that's another thing. While Europe has been fining, the antitrust cases against the big tech companies in the US haven't really, done that well. But they are all piling up. Let's see what happens. In another example of how everyone wants to be TikTok, now you can post your video reaction to a tweet instead of using just plain words, pictures, or memes. Then the Consumer Electronics Show is going on, and it is a hybrid model this year with a lot of activity happening in the EV space. Anyway, it's an ongoing show. Let's see what all comes out of it. Finally, we will now have collaboration in space. Lockheed Martin is part of an experiment where astronauts in space will use collaboration tools like Cisco WebEx and Amazon's Alexa. Starlink's low Earth orbit satellite broadband, then 4G on the moon, the internet on Mars. Looks like there will be congestion in space. So anyway, on that positive note, here's goodbye everyone and have a great weekend.